A banana smoothie? What could ever go wrong with that? Welcome back, everyone. Today we are taking a look at another Fortnite action figure, a Legendary Series P-1000. He might look familiar to you, or he might not, but he does have a connection with a certain favorite popular banana. So anyway, there we see him right there in his packaging with all of his accessories. We'll flip the box around, and it's a little bit older of a figure. I kind of bypassed it a few months ago on accident, and so there's the current cross sale at the time. We've talked about every single one of those. Somehow we've missed P-1000. So it's time to get in and take a look at P-1000. Be right back. Here we have P-1000 out of the package, or as I like to refer to him, the Ghost of Peely. But anyway, he is an epic skin. He was released during Season 10, and he was part of the Bunker Days set, and he was available for about $15 in his own P-1000 Challenge Pack. I wasn't playing the game at that time during that season, so I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something like a P-1000 Challenge Pack that you got him and a few other items. So he's a really compelling, visually interesting looking action figure. The character, or the in-game character, the artwork is really cool, and when I heard about this figure, I thought, wow, how are they going to put this figure out? We'll talk about the actual figure and how it works and moves around in just a bit. First, we'll take a look at the accessories, and then we'll get more into this. He comes with the Nana Cape back bling. This did not come with the character. This came actually a season earlier in 9. It's really cool. It does look like a banana that's starting to get a little bit overripe. So this will be really good. Can't wait to see what it looks like on him. He comes with a Peely Pick harvesting tool. Peeled banana. Doesn't that look yummy? Don't you just want to bite into that banana and have good? Anyway, it's attached to this, what looks to be maybe some sort of a branch, a tree branch. And it's got some vines attached. It's really cool looking how they've put this thing together. He comes with a light machine gun. This is a really nice looking gun. It's got the handle here and a handle there and a tripod or a bipod there. He also has a compact machine gun. We'll see how well he can hold this. Looking at his hands, I have a bit of a doubt that he'll hold this really well, but I could be wrong. Let's be surprised. And he comes with 4 removable faces. I mean jars. There's 3 of them, and 1 is on him. This is actually pretty interesting. I like how this is working. As I said before, this is a very compelling action figure. The first thing I'm going to mention to you is not articulation, but it's the head swap. And I'll be straight up honest, swapping out his face is probably the most difficult thing you can do on this action figure, because you're taking these little jars right there, and you are putting it, or you're taking this out and putting it in your, and at least with mine, you can't get enough lever. Ah, there we go. It takes a little bit of work. Sometimes you might need like a little knife or something to pop it out. It's not super easy. You can do it, but it's not super easy. It just kind of snaps right there back in place. He's got a new face, and the interesting thing is you can rotate it and hide his face if you want to. It does rotate. Once it's snapped in, you do the same thing again. You kind of reach up in there, and if you're lucky, there's a hair there. If you're lucky, you hurt your fingers there. You can take it out, pop another one in there, and he's got a different expression now. So I will do this one last time, and I'll put his original face back in, and we'll continue the video of looking at this figure with his original face. Now, P-1000 visually in the game has a very unique and interesting look. It doesn't necessarily translate into action figure form the best way possible. I think Jazwares actually did a really great job with what they are working with. If you notice, he's very slender, slender arms, slender legs. There's not a lot there, but that's what the character looks like. I think the best way, oops, that's not the best way. I think the best way to display this character is from the side. If you're going to display it, then pop it on a shelf and do it from the side. You see more of the arms and more of the legs. It's not nearly as interesting that way. And he looks a little bit more like he's in the game when he's from the side, a little bit of a side profile. He does have some pretty limited articulation. We'll go through that now. So the arms will rotate all the way around. They go up about that far. There, they go up about that far, go down about that far. There's really not a lot. He does have an elbow, a pin in the elbow, so he can up and down just like that. There's no bicep rotation. There is no wrist rotation. The wrist also will go back and forth just like that. He does have the finger joint, the finger hinge as well. And another, I suppose, point of articulation is the fact you can rotate his face around like that. His torso will wiggle back and forth. Does pretty good, actually. Makes me think of AIM with this big ball joint up in here. There's nothing in the waist except for his torso area, so that rotates all the way around, and he can't actually rotate that around unless you want to take the chance of popping that off. He can do the splits about that far. You've got these little kind of ball joints right here. They're not really ball joints, they're just little pieces here that will prevent the legs from going any closer together than that. You can lift his legs up, and you can send his legs backwards. There is no thigh rotation here. I kind of wish there was. There's only a single pin for the knee, not double pin. And the feet will rotate, and they definitely hinge. There is no toe articulation on this figure. So overall, he is pretty limited in his articulation. I do think that they could have added a bicep and a thigh rotation. Yes, when you rotate it, it would be off. It wouldn't be nice and smooth. But I think for articulation, I think that still would have worked really well. And for display, I think it would have worked well. Jazwares probably tried that. They probably designed that up and looked at it and said, nope, this is just not going to work. And I would defer to them if they decided that they didn't think that was going to work. But just from my, purchaser's point of view, I think it could have worked. Works in my head, at least. So it was really interesting. Mike DeCamp, he's if I remember right, his official title is like a designer of the series, of the line. If he's around, he can correct me, or someone else could. He was talking about this one day, and he referred to this as the GoBot of the Fortnite series. And I always thought that was really funny, that this is the GoBot, because of the straight articulation. The bend in the knee, the bend in the elbow, they go back and forth. There's really nothing beyond that. That he's the GoBot. And I thought that was funny. I liked that. That was humorous. So this is the Fortnite GoBot, I guess you could also call it. Overall, this is not a bad figure. I think this is actually a pretty good figure for what they're working with. It's a great representation of P-1000. I really do think it is. Straight on, maybe not so much. But if you get him to the side, you can kind of get him to bend around here just a little bit. You can get him into some interesting poses that my very slick surface won't allow. Anyway, I think, generally speaking, when you have him on the side, kind of like a side there, then I think he does really well. He looks really good. Just like about every other single Legendary Series, the failure, unfortunately, is in these hand hinges. That's actually pretty good. He holds this one a lot better than I thought he would. I don't like the finger hinges, but that's just me. Maybe you. I don't know. So, there's a pose you could get him in. He doesn't look bad. Display-wise, I think he looks really cool. I think he's a really easy figure to play with. I think so. He doesn't take a lot. You don't need to move around a lot of stuff. He can't hold the pick very well. I actually have tried the pick. It's a little bit of a loose hold, if I remember right. Well, maybe he holds it better than I remember. Yeah, it's a loose hold. And that's more to do with this wrist joint than anything. You can't tighten them up. I wish there was some sort of a tightening feature in the hands, the fingers, so that you could squeeze it down. It kind of clamps on. Now he's got a little bit too much weight in the front. We'll lean him back. We'll see if that works. There. And you could get him to display. You could get him to stand upright. I really do like this figure. He's very limited in his articulation, but I think the result, I think it's a really, really good representation. I think the result was about as good as they could do. And I'm really pretty pleased with this figure. Figures don't have to have, perfect articulation. They don't have to have every little bit of articulation you can cram in to make them a good figure. Part of the figure is representation. And I think Bobby Valla mentioned it in a live stream one time, that sometimes different figures need different points of articulation because you don't want to sacrifice the look of the figure. I think, if I remember, I'm going to attribute that to him, because I'm pretty sure I remember hearing that one night in a live stream. And so I agree. You want to make sure the figure looks good. Articulation, for the sake of articulation, sometimes can be bad. Anyway, I think this is a good figure. If you're going to display it, I think it's a great figure to get if you haven't picked it up already. I could keep going on. We could talk about articulation and stuff like that for a long time, but I don't want to get into a point where it sounds like I'm trying to justify something, because it's not my company. It's not my figure. I don't have to. I just want to say I like the figure. Thank you for stopping by, and thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video at all, please consider dropping not dropping, I keep saying dropping. You can drop a comment. You could click the thumbs up as well. And if you want to be notified when more of these types of videos come out, reviewing action figures of Fortnite, Halo, and G.I. Joe, hit the subscribe button and that bell notification icon. Thank you for stopping by. Have a wonderful, wonderful holiday and a new year. We'll see you in the next video.